Beep, beep, beep. A bus darted down the road, its horn blaring frantically, first swerving left, then hard to the right. Whoever drove it had clearly lost control of the vehicle. The bus crossed several lanes in the road before forcing its way up onto the empty sidewalk. Bang! The bus came to an abrupt halt as it slammed into an electric pole, which promptly fell down onto the vehicle. The people nearby got out of their cars and started gathering around the now wrecked bus. The doors of the bus opened, with the passengers inside spilling out with a panicked look. Someone call 119. A shout come amidst the escapees. The driver dying. The 3rd of October, 2031. A bus driver by the name of Han Maru passed away. He was 45 on the day of his death. What were your regrets in life? It was the first thing on Maru's mind as he opened his eyes. He heard the sound of waves crashing against the beach near him. A cool breeze washed over his face as he sat up to look around. You're awake. I was just about to wake you up. A voice of a woman came up from behind him, confusing him even more. Maru understood his situation as soon as he heard the woman in the white shirt. So I died, Maru confirmed. The woman simply affirmed his suspicions. Yes, you did. The woman started walking forward with fairly wide steps. Maru paced himself a little bit faster than usual to try and keep up. After around a minute of walking, they came across the sole parasol in the entire beach. The woman motioned onto the chair underneath. Please sit. And so Maru did. The woman continued after sitting down on a chair herself. Mr. Han, you died precisely on the 3rd of October, 11 hours, 23 minutes, and 14 seconds. Do you remember how you died? Maru recalled the event almost as if it were a distant memory. He was driving the bus to its final stop. Just then, something came flying down the road, making a beeline towards him. It broke through the front window, slamming into his chest before falling down next to his seat. Were the passengers safe? He asked. Thanks to you? Yes, everyone survived. If you had given up halfway, you would run right into a truck and killed everyone. The woman responded. Would you like to live your life again? Maru became speechless for a second. What? At that moment, an old lady in white traditional attire walked out from behind the woman. Maru knew this lady very well. She was his neighbor, Mrs. Yu Bolka. Mrs. Yu decided to give her chance to you, Mr. Han, the woman said. The old lady walked over to gently grip Maru's hands. I lived fairly happily thanks to you. I'm grateful for the fact that you cared for me more than my children. He didn't do it because he expected anything back. He just wanted to see the lady smile every once in a while. You're saying I can live my life again in your stead, mother? He asked. The woman affirmed instead from the side. Yes, she said. Maru shook his head firmly in refusal. You shouldn't, mother. I don't deserve. The old lady cut him off in the middle of a sentence. I'm not interested in living my life again. It was horrible. I do not want to experience war again. I don't want to live a life where I have to run away all the time again. This is much better for me. All my friends are with me up in heaven as well. The lady smiled gently before continuing. But you're different though, Maru. You're still young. I could bear to see you go just like that. The lady gripped Maru's hand a little tighter. Consider this a gift for talking with me all the time. Mother. Maru didn't know what to say. Please accept this chance for me. With that, the lady faded away from view. Maru just turned to look at the woman in a daze. There are a few restrictions, of course, she explained. Your memories won't be complete, so you can win lotteries with your memories. Can I really begin again? The woman nodded in confirmation. Maru started to ponder. Me though, you can meet your current wife, she answered the question for him. The choice to meet her again is up to you, of course, Mr. Han. Ah, you'll also get a few abilities going in. Iperids. What sort of abilities? The woman didn't seem to want to answer his question this time, though. Consider it a gift for making many people happy. It to also something from Mrs. Yu, who just went back up to head. She's someone who spread around unspeakable amount of kindness to the world as she lived. That's why I offered her to live again. Though that gift has now been given to you. The woman extended her hand towards him. There was a small pill sitting in her palm. If you eat this, you'll be able to go back to your teenage years. By the first year of high school, she answered. You'd be able to know a bit more when you wake up. Maru received the pill. The woman was smiling towards him. Please don't now be so giving in this life. It did good that you tried to make others happy, but you sacrificed so much doing it. Maru smiled faintly. I don't think about other people that much. He looked at the pill one last time. Suddenly, a wrinkled hand appeared from somewhere and pushed the pill into his mouth. When Maru looked back in surprise, the visage of the old lady smiling greeted him. Please have fun this time. With that, Maru lost his consciousness again, and Han Maru realized that such a dream has become a reality for him. He could hear the computer humming silently behind him. He noticed a little whist smacked onto the wall next to him. The resolutions he made as he graduated middle school, was it? Phew! He sat up as he massaged his temples with his thumbs. Maru let out a small laugh. This small room, these messy clothes all around him, that pile of comic books in the corner, and that old book from the library. Maru tried fumbling around a bit under his pillow. There it was, his phone. After stepping on his phone the first thing in the morning, he built the habit of leaving his phone next to or below his pillow. First year of high school, was it? He mumbled to himself. Maru slid open the unfamiliar phone in his hand. So time like this. Maru realized. Maru recalled the words of the woman from a while back, about how his memories would be incomplete. He could recall most things from his life back when he was 45. Maru looked up at the ceiling. So I really am back. Lee Seung-ji, Maru mother, woke up as she turned off the alarm from her phone. Her husband was away on the night shift. She folded her sheets and walked out into the kitchen with a stretch. Today was the day when Maru and Bada would start school again. Maru in a new school and Bada in a new classroom. She thought of her two sleeping children as she took the pre-soaked rice from the night before and put it on the rice cooker. Right then, Maru walked out of his room without any signs of fatigue. You're awake, mother, he said. What? Why was he sounding so polite all of a sudden? Sunji stared at him for a second in surprise. Ah, you're up. Maru immediately spoke a lot more casually as he turned in nervousness. Of course I am. I have to make breakfast. Why are you up so early? She asked. I think I just got nerver, he confessed. Go wash up. It'd be a while before the food finishes. Yes? I mean, sure. Sunji wore a curious look as her son entered the bathroom. How awkward, Maru muttered to himself quietly. He washed his face and hair. He found himself smiling when he realized it took more than 20 seconds for the water to heat up. It was stuff like this that really made him realize he was back in the past. Maru walked out of the bathroom to discover his mom making some soup. Need help? Looking at her cook all the food made him want to help out a little. I'm good. You know, stuff like this won't actually make me give you a larger allowance. Right? How do you know? Because I'm your mom, she answered in an obvious tone. Maru opened the fridge trying to hold in his laughter. He could see Dayton beer and Mamen plum and raspberry extracts inside. He forgot how much he missed seeing this. His mom looked at him with a surprised face when he started mixing some of the syrup with water to drink. I thought you hated stuff like this, she said. Did I? He asked back. You always ask for soda instead whenever I made you one. My tastes probably changed. Maru silently exclaimed in joy as he took another sip of the drink. Oh dear. Look at the time already. Go wake Bada up. Mom asked. It was already 7 a.m. Sure. Don't kick her again, she warned. I know. Maru waved her off casually as he entered his sister's room. The girl was curled up in her blankets like a caterpillar. Come to think of it, we never talked after that point, he thought. Fatty, he said as he kicked the girl Banfoot lightly. He immediately felt bad about doing it, but he could change his habits so easily right away. That right. This was the Maru of high school. Ah, what the hell? Bada glared at Maru with a half-opened eyes before burying her head back into the pillow. Maru thought about kicking her again, but decided to just lean over to her face instead. Wake up, it in morning. Ah, damn it. Maru took a close look at his sister Ref's face. So this was what she looked like. He could remember his sister and future face very well. Maru poked the girl in forehead. He couldn't resist, she just looked cute. Ah, damn it, now you're poking me too. Bada stood up as she shouted angrily. Maru escaped before the girl got any louder. Her bad temper was the only thing that stayed constant throughout that girlian life. Maru sat down on the table as Bada walked out with a sour look. Ah, Mom, he keeps hitting me, she complained. Wake up on time then, Mom retorted with ease. Bada, knowing that she could beat Mom in an argument, just headed to the bathroom with a pout. You kicked her again, didn't you? She asked. Of course he denied it. It didn't really work, though. Why can't you be more friendly with her? You used to walk around everywhere with her hand in yours back in the day. I did? Maru tried looking back in his memories. Did that really happen? He could somewhat remember himself walking around town with his sister a hand in his. They used to go to arcades and go into the mountains together. What is it? Mon asked. It is nothing. I just remembered something old. He paused for a second as if he was still thinking about it. You know, when I lost Bod. Ah, then. She seemed to remember as well. You cried a lot back then, since you could find her at all. I did. Of course you did. Anyway, here, have some food before you go. You got your bag right? Don't they get on your teacher a bad side, alright. Make some new friends too, you only get your real friends in high school. I know, I'm not a kid, you know? Of course you are. Don't I hang out with weirdos? Okay, IV back. Be careful of cars. Mom and goodbyes never really changed. Be careful of cars. She started saying it after Maru's grandfather passed from a car accident. Maru opened the door and stepped out. The cold air of the morning whipped across his face. It was March, getting a little warmer, but still closer to winter than spring. Maru walked down to the first floor and unlocked his bike from the stand. Haven't seen this baby in a while. A casual bike armed with a simple shift. Maru hopped onto the bike and started pedaling. The air between his fingers felt frigid, but even this made him want to shout in joy. I really back, he muttered. An image of Mrs. Yu flashed over his vision for a split second. Thank you for giving me this chant. He prayed in thanks. Maru stopped at a crossing for a second to take out his MP3. It had been a long while since he's seen one. He plugged the earphones into the jack and started listening. Most were songs from singers in the early 2000s. This is good stuff, he found himself muttering. At least it was far better than those so-called K-pop songs with English mixed all over the place. He much rather preferred listening to songs he could actually understand. Maru stepped on the pedal as he sang along to some of the lyrics. The love I have for you. After around 30 minutes of pedaling, he could see the school coming into view. That still looks the same. Then again, it would be strange if it did. A rectangular complex made with brownish bricks right in front of the building was a small podium meant for the principal. The field in front of the podium was a little larger than your average school lane. There was even a basketball court in the right corner of the school. And for whatever reason, they even had a little pavilion next to it as well. Around there was also a small water fountain. Maru walked over to the main entrance. He found more and more students around him in their personal clothes. He too was in casual wear as well. As he neared the entrance, he started, feeling a strange sense of nostalgia and fear creep up from inside him. He could see a familiar face standing in front of him. The disciplinary teacher. The bald terror was standing in front of the door with the scissor in hand. Maru found himself clicking his tongue in disapproval. He had bad memories of getting his hair cut by those scissors. Come on, faster! Hey, you, what that on your hair? One of the boys got caught by the teacher. The boy didn't seem like a first year. He waddled over nervously in front of the teacher. Ha, wax! Trying to look cool on your first day? The teacher glared. I'm sorry, the kid mumbled. 3 laps around the field and come back to me. Got it, yes sir. I'm going light on you since it's the first day, alright? Yes sir. The boy threw down his bag and started running. Maru passed by the teacher as he observed the scene. After locking up his bike, Maru walked up to the second floor where his class was. He walked into class 2 for electrical engineering with a sense of nostalgia. Maru scanned the room quickly before going back to his own thing. Though, that thing only really consisted of reading manga and listening to music. Really, he decided to sit in the middle of the class. So I really am starting over, he realized. Even so, Maru tried his best to remember his wife and daughter. Since the woman had told him he could remember a few key things, he didn't worry about it too much. As he thought a bit about the past and the future, he could hear a few kids talking next to him. Did he check you too? One of them said. Check. Oh, you mean having to take my shirt off? Ah, so you got it too. I was pretty scared, to be honest. The guy next to me had a tattoo on him. You smoke, by the way? The me hell yet. God damn. Let's be friends. You got one on you right now? Maru grinned as he listened to the conversation. He recalled seeing something similar to this in his memory surprisingly well. One of the kids brought a pack of cigarettes to class on the second day and ended up getting hit by the teacher. Rinchok. That must be been him. One by one, more kids started flooding into the classroom. A tall guy, a short guy, a big guy, a small guy, ones with glasses, ones without, handsome ones, and ugly ones. You bastards just don't change. Do you? He could see the faces of his old friends match up with their younger counterparts. Maru put his earphones back on, imagining that they'd be friends again in the future. Creak, clack. The old door opened with a start, and in walked a person who looked to be in his early 40s, with a cue stick in hand. Nice to meet you. I'm Kim Chung-sik, your damned homeroom teacher. I teach digital theory in this school. I'm 42, married, and have a son in middle school right now. What I like is silence. What I hate is a disobedient student. The end. No one has any questions, right? The teacher banged the podium with his stick, causing the students to flinch a little. Now I have to call out attendance, so sit down accordingly. Number 1, Park Woo-kun. When Woo-kun stood up with a confused look, the teacher stabbed his shoulder lightly with his cue stick. I told you to respond. Don't not make me say this twice. You get to know more about your teachers as you go to this school. Your seniors often call me a son of a bitch. I'm actually quite fond of that nickname. Why do I like it? Because I can really act like a rabid dog. So watch yourselves if you don't want to get hurt. Number 40, Han Maru. Yes sir. Maru, as in the floor or something. It a pure Korean word meaning sky. Is that so? Anyway, go sit at the back. Maru sat at the end of the 4th row. The class door opened as the teacher was looking over the classroom. It looked like another teacher had come to talk to him. The man pointed his stick at the class with a warning gaze. I'd be back soon, so be quiet. You won't have any fun on your first day of school if I hear you talking outside, I promise. The kids all sighed in collective annoyance as soon as the teacher got out a wow. Holy shit, dude. We got caught by a real old bastard, didn't we? God damn it. I wanted a female teacher, too. A boy next to him. Said Maru turned to look. The boy in name was Han Dojin, with him having the same last name. The two of them were sitting right next to each other. Well, female male? Potato potato, same thing, Maru said, as he put his bag down next to his desk. You don't know Jack, do you? Female teachers hit lighter. Didn't you see that cue stick the teacher was holding? That shitter going to hurt. Mang Dojin shuddered in horror with an exaggerated look. Dojin, was it? Maru confirmed. Yeah, Maru, right weird name. I like it. One of those names you don't forget. True that. What ya listening to, by the way? Dojin asked, pointing at Maru in MP3. Just some pop, Maru answered. Let me listen. The boy extended his hand towards Maru, who smiled a little and handed it over. Oh, this song ain't good. Dojin started moving to the beat of the music. Right then, the door opened and the teacher walked in. Aye. The Manning cue stick pointed towards Dojin. Unfortunately, the boy was unable to hear the teacher. Maru slapped Dojin's shoulder. The boy pulled the earphones out frantically upon opening his eyes. What did I say about MP3s again? The teacher said. Apia to Dojin just opened his lips in surprise without saying anything. Give it to me, you bastard. Oh my, I'm sorry, sir. I won't do it again. Look at you, talking back now? The teacher just started poking at Dojin's shoulder with his stick. Dojin's shoulder got pushed back, and the boy in face scrunched up into a frown as well. He turned to look at Maru. Maru just nodded in understanding and gestured towards the teacher. Here. Bring me a letter from your parents if you want this back, all right? The teacher returned to the podium, just looked forward. We do not want the teacher noticing us again. Dojin nodded in response. Right. Then, I was a little worried because of his appearance. He seems like a good guy though, thank goodness. Maru saw something strange floating above Dojin's head. What the heck is that? Maru for a second saw that. Above Dojin's face, he blinked a few times thinking that he was just imagining things, but it just didn't go away. A word bubble. A pink bubble was floating above Dojin's head. Maru looked at Dojin again. But the word bubble, what there anymore? Does it have some sort of a requirement? The bubble disappeared in an instant. Let them have a decent 1 year together. You hear? The teacher said. I was just going to listen to it for a second. Dojin immediately gave his apologies. He seemed to be fairly sensitive to stuff like this. He was a guy who knew to be sorry. That made Maru pretty happy. Honestly. Compared to all the others he had to deal with in the past, Dojin was a saint. Don't think worry about it. He will give it back in a few days, Maru said. Right, he should give it back, right? If he does, I might as well just buy another one. It isn't too expensive anyway. Hey, it is. I thought that was a new model. The ones that are like 250,000 won. Ah. Maru ended up smiling a little in surprise. He was a high schooler. Right now Plapius, MP3s, were currently the new hot thing, making them quite expensive. That MP3 just now was something his parents had gotten him as a graduation gift. It didn't fine, up get it back. Maru quickly changed his stance. Ah, yeah, is your family rich? By the way, I was just showing off a bit. I'm gonna die if I don't get it back. Right. Ah, crap. I'm so sorry. You don't not have to be so sorry between friends, you know. Friends Maru felt good just saying it. He had said the word in a very long time. The type of friends you could meet at any time and call at any time for no reason at all. Friend. Yeah, we'm friend. Dojin bumped into Maru lightly with a big grin on his face. With his friendliness, the boy could probably end up being friends with everyone in the class in just a week. The two of them talked for a bit while waiting for the Korean teacher. Their conversation naturally moved onto video games, and the two realized they actually played the same MMO together. The spout turned up a notch when they had a definite topic to talk about. More. Mahiler. We should play a round together sometime. The Korean teacher that walked in had a bit of a square jaw with long wavy hair. He looked a bit peculiar, to be honest. Nice to meet you. I'm Park Moon-jung, and I be teaching you kids literature for the next year. I know none of you will bother remembering my name anyway, so just call me Literature. Teach. The man leaned over the podium as he scanned the classroom. Unlike with his homeroom teacher, Maru could help but grin when he saw this teacher. He must have had many good memories with this person. You're a bit disappointed, aren't you? Since there are no girls here. No one answered. It was the first day after all. And it wasn't like Maru was a social type either. Plus, the teacher actually felt quite a bit younger than him, making him hesitant. Tell me, you guys are disappointed because there are no girls in your class, right? Yes. A few of the kids responded with a smile. I do feel for you a little, spending your youth in a classroom that smells like sweat for a year. What a waste. Why did you guys choose electrical engineering to begin with? Should have gone to art or design. Those are pretty much half boys and half girls. Really? No girls at all, Element? More of the students were talking now? Of course not. Unfortunately, told ya. The only thing waiting for you in the near future aren't flowers. It'd be just sweat. Wow, why you kids need to be especially careful in choosing your clubs. If you end up going into sports, you aren't going to have a chance at seeing women at all for all 3 years. Right then, one of the more playful-looking kids raised their hand. So what are the clubs with the most girls in them? Good question. People need to know how to ask questions like these if they want to live an easy life. Applaud him. Guys, clap, clap, clap. The teacher had a thing for making class seem recreational. Maru clapped enthusiastically as well clubs with girls. First of all, there's the manga club. They have a few girls there. Also, the origami club, and then the movie review club. I'm probably going to be the advisor for that club this year. After some more casual talk with the teacher, the kids began to introduce themselves one by one. The teacher asked the students for their name, goals for the year, and things they wanted to say to the class. Anyhow, let's have a good time together for the next year. Dojin finished his introduction. Lastly, oh Maru, that a pure Korean word. Isn't it? I like it. As expected of the Korean teacher, he seemed to know the meaning of his name. Maru answered with a yes and stood up. My name am Maru Han. I do like to live fairly quietly for my first year. Let to get along. Quiet. Huh? Nice. Alright, you can sit now. Maru finished his introduction in a simple fashion. The first period ended relatively safely. Maru took a look at the other kids during break time. Was it because he had the eyes of an adult? The kids around him all looked young and cute. Entrance exams and the military. Entrance exams were fine. He was fine with studying for them. Compared to everything else in life, studying was quite easy for him. But the military. Eh? Did you say that to me? No, I just remembered something. Oh, I see. Dojin smiled awkwardly. Now at in lunch, cleanup, and home. Dojin shouted in joy. School finished at 2 p.m. since it was only the first day. He started walking towards the cafeteria with Dojin. The school was shaped like a capital league. One side was the main building with all the classes, and the other side had all the labs. The cafeteria was next to the lab building. Maru looked up at the unfinished gymnasium with a grin. The principal used quite a bit of money building it, but he ended up blocking it off after it completed. They only really used it for festivals. The menu today was fried fish, doenjang soup, and spicy braised tofu. Poop soup. What soup? Oh, I meant doenjang soup. Maru looked for other kids in his class. Over there. Since most of them at least knew each other's faces, they were all gathered around one table. The same went for other classes. No one really knew each other though. So lunch was fairly quiet. Maru knew very well that this would last, of course. High schoolers were very loud creatures. He didn't seem to like it. Maru wasn't much of a picky eater, so he was able to eat it well. Then again, I found military food pretty tasty as well. Maru walked out after lunch to notice a few seniors running around the field. On one side they were playing soccer, and on the other, basketball. Dojin clicked his tongue in surprise as he watched. Maru felt otherwise. The military. If you just took the occasional girl out of the equation, it really looked like the military. Right, that's why we called this place the barracks. The sunlight was streaming in through the windows, along with the cold air of March. The kids near the windows were already fast asleep. The lot of them were still awkward around each other, but that could change in a week. We had a few here too. He couldn't remember all too well, but there were a few outsiders in the class, though they managed to form their own group in the end, though the term didn't really exist yet. What? Dojin perked up with a curious look. Just talking to myself. Why do you keep talking to yourself? Talk to me too, bro. Just go back to sleep. You look sleep. True that I am sleepy. Dojin slumped back down on his desk. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Don't be late. We're going to start cleaning out designated areas starting tomorrow, so remember that. The teacher exit the room after smacking the board lightly with his board. Where do you live? Woldon. That and pretty far. Do you bus here? Bike. Don't you feel cold? Yeah, but you're cheaper for sure. Fair enough. See you tomorrow. Maru waved as he left the classroom. The first day went by well. He thought he might make a few mistakes due to his memory, but that never actually happened. This place never changed. He spent quite a bit of money over the 3 years in high school. His entire friend group would assemble in the PC Bang after school. Whenever one of them say, go, he played StarCraft, Warcraft, and Lineage harder than he ever studied. I wonder if he'd play games in this life. Maru turned away from the PC Bang as he thought to himself, a new life. Fun life. What would a fun life entail? Maru could quite remember what he'd done for 45 years. Jobs. Maru slowed down a bit. He could see a cloud floating right above him. I didn't think I lived a bad life. But I didn't really live a good one either, huh? Work before dreams, things he had to do. Came before things he wanted to do. He never took risks, and he never looked far off into the future either. Maru clicked his tongue without even realizing it. Well, he did have one. So if anything, his life was just so-so. How do I want to live? That question came at Maru now harder than it ever did in the past 45 years. Asterisk. Asterisk. Maru stepped into the house with a heavy face. How was school? Not weird or anything? Mom asked him a question after a small pause. She seemed to be a bit worried. What with him having gone to an engineering school and all, Maru lay down on the bed to look up at the ceiling for a second. He could stop thinking about how he was going to live his future. Maru took out a math textbook from one of the shelves. Looking at the little graphs and equations in it made him choke a little bit. Same went for the English textbook as well. Ugh, studying. I'm fine, thank you. Maru threw the 2 textbooks out of sight. If only I knew some lottery numbers or companies that made it big in the market. Should I write it down? He wondered. But as soon as he raised himself up to do it, you can't do that. Someone spoke to him from behind. A beautiful woman in a tight-fitting 2-piece dress had appeared in the room. You spent the day without any problems. I think you adapted very well considering the situation. Are there many people living their lives again like me? Of course. But not many actually realize that they've come back to the past. Yes. It another gift for you from Miss Ya, of course. You'll have to figure out how to use it yourself. That what makes life fun, isn't it? Looks like you figured it out. That right. The abilities could help you in life, but it could make things very complicated for you as well. Nothing is free. The sentence came to him quite strongly. Maru nodded. He realized again and again that Hare returned to the starting point that made this first step all the more important for him. We won't to be meeting again, not unless something bad happens. Is that so? In any case, I hope you live a fun life. I hope you make the right decision, the woman whispered to him in a barely audible voice. Maru stared up at the ceiling for several minutes after the woman disappeared. Mom called him out from the living room to eat dinner. Smells good, he said, walking out of his door. Did your taste buds change overnight? I thought you didn't like this stuff. Oh, is that so, sir? You're all grown up, Mom asked in a teasy tone. Maru just decided to sit down and start eating. It tasted familiar, homely, like something that just made him smile. Oh, you're here, Bada, here, have some food, Mom said, as she watched Bada enter from the front door. Sigh. Mom put down the bowl of rice she had been filling. Maru understood that feeling completely. Han Bada. Maru called out. What? Maru pulled out a chair next to him, earning him a glare from his little sister. He pointed to the chair. Neat. At least, just one bite. I'd be eating here every day from now on too, so you should eat a little bit. Bada glared at him from the side, but he just decided to ignore it. The girl really just ate a single bite before leaving. Thank you for the meal. I'd do the dishes. I'm good. Just go study. Didn't you say you wanted to be the snake-eating head or something? Snake-eating head. The word made him grin. He was reminded of the conversation he had with his mother. A week passed. School life went by without any problems. Maru was keeping good on his promise about leading a safe school life. Maru got off his bike as he arrived to school. Today, too, there was the disciplinary teacher, keeping his eyes out like a hawk over the front gate. Just go cut your hair already before I just shave all of it off. Maru, on the other hand, was able to pass by without any problems. For some reason, he was just more comfortable with a buzz cut anyway. Why did he care so much about hair again? He couldn't even remember. Maru went to the small bike lot next to the parking lot. He couldn't help but notice one of the bikes there. 3-day DAS really was great for indoor shoes. Never change. 3-day DAS. A few of the kids waved at him when he stepped inside. He made friends with a few of them in a week. Maru took a look over the class. It was already split into several groups. A few groups formed by social kids merged together to form a bigger group in the class. You're here? Dojin raised his head from the desk to greet Maru. There was some drool on his mouth from mapping on the desk. Wipe away your saliva. Ah, yeah. Dojin wiped it off with his sleeves. Maru made good friends with the boy over the past week. It was surprisingly easy, since the boy was already very social to begin with. The boy put on an apologetic face pretty much immediately. By the way, your MP3. Don't worry about it. Ah, I'm really sorry, dude. Stop saying it before the word gets stuck to your mouth, dude. Despite how scary that teacher was, he worked up the courage to keep talking to the man. Dojin really was a good guy. I'd just buy you one if I can. That get it back, he said. Maru just waved him off. It wasn't anything that important, anyway. Actually, he was glad he was able to discern Dojin character with just an MP3. Here, Maru, try this. Dojin threw him a cookie from his bag. The boy seemed to have tons in his bag. He even seemed oddly proud of the fact that they took up the space for textbooks in his bag.